Hello and welcome again to Not Fake News. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and smash that like button. We have a couple breaking stories for you right now, so let's do this. Uh-oh. Look who was finally arrested. And we'll also go over, look what a New York Times reporter just said about white women. This is going to piss you off. So, let's get into this one first. And this one's going to piss you off too, but at least she's getting arrested. Look who was finally arrested. Violent leftist arrested. The middle school teacher, who was a proud member of the Democratic domestic terror group Antifa, has just received a nice dose of justice. Yvette Falarca was arrested earlier on charges from a violent brawl last year between nationalist and communist groups. On Tuesday, Falarca was taken into custody in Los Angeles on charges of inciting and participating in a riot, and assault likely to cause great bodily injury. This is the charges she was set on. The charges were a long time coming after an 8-month investigation. Shouldn't have took that long, and you'll see why below. Falarca, whose name is in public records, appears as Ivan Capistrano Falarca, has been identified as the leader and spokesperson for the anti-fascist group By Any Means Necessary. That's the name of the group. She's among several people arrested in this week's connection to the wild skirmish that broke out at a state capitol in June 2016, when more than 300 counter-protesters confronted about 30 members of Traditional Worker Party, which has been called a white nationalist group. Falarca, who was a middle school teacher in Berkeley, attended the Capitol protest and gave television interviews after the melee. She was captured on video hitting a member of the TWP and calling a man a Nazi before punching him in the stomach repeatedly while shouting for him to get the F out of our streets. Remember this? If you didn't see the video we made of this last year, watch this.
Fascists! They're not going to have anything done to them, are they?
Nazi, come get the off our street! Get the fuck off our
Are these people going to do anything?
off our
They
street!
say we don't have freedom of speech.
Here you go, boy.
Yep. They say we should guys. We not. We need a
Fuck
Nazi.
off our streets! Get the fuck off our street! Piece of shit! Fuck you!
Sir, please. I'm just here to protest.
Fuck off our street!
Please.
Stand down.
Get out. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back.
So that he just hit her with the baton behind her. Let me tell you, she didn't hurt him. I'm not saying that she's hurting the guy. I'm saying what she's saying bothers me. Who does she think she is to decide who is and who is not a Nazi, and who does she think she is? An immigrant. Look at her. She's obviously an immigrant. Okay, maybe she was born here. Well, my point is, she has no right to tell anyone to get off her streets. Everyone that kicked him should have been arrested too. Okay. That's it for that one. And then we have this piece of dirt. Look what a New York Times, the New York Slimes, failing New York Times, reporter just said about white women. Yeah, white women. You thought that you could get on board the bandwagon and be upset with white men, right? And you jumped on. Well, guess what? Now they turned on you. Now white women, along with white men, suck. But here, check this out. This is going to be, you're going to love this. A New York Times reporter is accusing white women of racism on the city sidewalks for not making space for him to walk while he's walking. Boy, he really feels like a tiny person, doesn't he? They won't move out of the way when I'm walking. They're racist because they won't move out of the way. The Daily Mail reported a New York Times reporter is facing blowback on an article in which he accused white women of racism for not yielding to him on city sidewalks. Greg Howard, a writer for Sunday Metropolitan Section, again, Greg Howard is his name, a writer for the Sunday Metropolitan Section of the New York Times, in a Wednesday essay titled "Was That Racist?" said white women in particular will not make space for him when he's walking down the street. He also added that there are times when he's had to step off like a man usually does, right? Like a man would step out of the way for a couple of women, you know? This guy's like, there are times when I had to step into the sidewalk and off the sidewalk into the road, making me feel small. Guess what, buddy? This article made you look really small. You did it to yourself. In 7 years of living and walking here, I found that most people walk courteously, but that white women, at least when I'm in their path, do not, Howard wrote. Well, maybe you got a punk bitch look to you. Maybe you got I'm a punk ass bitch look. And they don't feel they gotta get out of the way for you. Maybe you got I'm a nobody look to you. And they don't even notice you're there. They don't even see you. And what you're about to say next about how they might be afraid or of black men and then this stupid thing, I don't remember what you said. That's not true. Because again, you look like a punk bitch. You're not scary, my friend. So the last thing you're about to say down here is bullshit. Excuse my language, everyone. I'm sorry. Why only, and specifically white women, do they refuse to acknowledge me because they've been taught that they should fear black men and that any acknowledgement of black men can invite danger? No. You're a punk. They don't notice you. You're a zero no one. Dan Gaynor, Vice President for Business and Culture at Media Research Center, said Howard was indicating a clear bias. That's right. He's the racist one. Can you imagine the New York Times running an essay where a white woman complains how African American men are rude and then blames it on race because they didn't step out of the way while she was walking? He told Fox News the paper and the author would be skewered. The left's new default is that white people are doing wrong at every turn, even when they're walking down the street. Criticism on social media over this piece came swiftly and primarily from conservatives. They won't walk in, they won't get out of my way when they won't acknowledge me. I sometimes have to walk into the street, making me feel small. Man, somebody please send me a meme of this guy making me feel small. Making me feel small. Please, I'll air it. Thank you. Send it to nfnshow@gmail.com. I'll check for it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Not Fake News. Let's read this while we're here. FBI computer. I don't even know who that is. Reviewing Hillary's emails. Yep, turns out she really did wear yoga pants. Oh, God. Whoever those guys are, that's funny anyway. That's funny. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, did you know that YouTube changed the subscribe button rules? When you subscribe, it doesn't work unless you click subscribe, then hit the little bell next to subscribe, and then you check the little box. It takes only 2 more seconds, but That's how you do it. Once you do that, subscribe, bell, and check the notifications box. Then you're actually subscribed. Then you're in. So join the resistance, not fake news. We have a couple breaking stories for you right now, so let's do this. Uh-oh. Look who was finally arrested. And we'll also go over, look what a New York Times reporter just said about white women. This is going to piss you off. So, arrested earlier on charges from a violent brawl last year between nationalist and communist groups. On Tuesday, Falarca was taken into custody in Los Angeles on charges of inciting and participating in a riot and assault likely to cause great bodily injury. This is the charges she was set. Hello and welcome again to Not Fake News. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and smash that like button. Let's get into this one first. And this one's going to piss you off too, but at least she's getting arrested. Look who was finally arrested. Violent leftist arrested. The middle school teacher, who is a proud member of the Democratic domestic terror group Antifa, has just received a nice dose of justice. Yvette Falarca was arrested on. The charges were a long time coming after an 8-month investigation. Shouldn't have took that long, and you'll see why below. Falarca, whose name is in public records, appears as Ivan Capistrano Falarca, has been identified as the leader and spokesperson for the anti-fascist group By Any Means Necessary. That's the name of the group.